Did you know that ChalDN spent $2 million to become Kim Kardashian's twin? Or that Amber only eats French fries 3 times a day due to a taste disorder that prevents her from eating other foods? Today, you'll meet 20 people with unusual lives. Let's watch it. It's fascinating. ChalDN. Get ready to be stunned by this story of fanaticism, unlimited spending, and obsession with plastic surgeries. It all began when this Londoner noticed she bore a striking resemblance to Kim Kardashian. Instead of embracing her individuality, she chose to mimic Kim's style, clothing, and even the smallest details of her physical appearance, ending up looking like her long-lost twin. Chali admits she has spent an astounding $2 million on cosmetic surgeries, designer clothes, and luxury accessories with the goal of becoming the spitting image of Kim. As a result of her transformation, people stop her on the street all the time, convinced she is the real Californian influencer. If you're wondering how she could spend so much money, just know her wardrobe is packed with Kim's favorite brands like Givenchy, Balenciaga, and Tom Ford. Her jewelry is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and her Rolex, identical to her idol's, adds up to a sum most people will never handle. But it's not just about the clothes. Chali has also undergone breast augmentation and facial enhancements to amplify her resemblance and complete the metamorphosis that turned her into the British version of Kim Kardashian. What do you think of this story? Do you think it's worth spending so much money to look like someone else? Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Amber. French fries for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For some, it sounds fabulous, while others think it would give them a heart attack if they maintained such a diet. In Amber's case, this is her reality. At 26 years old, she eats French fries 3 times a day and even includes them in her snacks, leaving no room for other foods. Even though she knows her obsession with these fries is unhealthy, she can't give them up because they are one of the few foods she can tolerate without feeling sick. Her peculiar diet caught the attention of doctors who, after several studies, discovered she suffers from an extremely rare taste disorder that causes intolerance to many textures and flavors. This disorder has made her rely solely on French fries, despite being aware of their high-fat, sodium content and lack of nutrients. Amber's life reached a turning point when she summoned exceptional willpower, combined with medical help, and began to try other foods to improve her health. While she didn't completely eliminate French fries from her diet, she managed to incorporate 15 nutritious foods to regain her well-being, allowing her to enjoy a wider variety of flavors beyond just French fries. Jasmine Chiswell. During her childhood in Scotland, Jasmine spent countless hours watching classic movies with her grandmother. She particularly enjoyed the films starring Grace Kelly, Jane Mansfield, and her eternal favorite, the incomparable Marilyn Monroe. These moments deeply inspired her, fostering a lasting love for the elegance and glamour of Hollywood's golden age. As an adult, Jasmine decided to take her admiration to the next level. Not only did she start dressing, doing her makeup, and styling her hair like the star of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, but she also moved to Burbank, California, and bought the same house that Marilyn and her husband Joe DiMaggio shared in the mid-20th century. This iconic residence became the perfect setting for Jasmine to recreate the magic of her idol. Just taking a glance at it, it's easy to think Jasmine is the reincarnation of the actress who passed away in 1982. What's even more bizarre is that she claims her house is haunted by Marilyn's spirit, which makes strange noises and causes odd occurrences, leading Jasmine to believe that her favorite star's spirit still inhabits the old residence. From inexplicable sounds and flickering lights to objects moving on their own, Jasmine has come to believe that Marilyn's essence never left the house. This adds an air of mystery to her life and gives her the sense that the greatest actress of Hollywood's golden era accompanies her every step as she emulates every detail of her legendary career. McLoud. At first glance, this 25-year-old might look like a time traveler who has jumped 200 years into the future or an actor from Bridgerton off the set. This is because Zach, who lives in Brighton, England, dresses every day in elegant waistcoats, tailcoats, and Regency-style trousers from the early 19th century. Zach's fascination with past fashion began when he noticed that contemporary clothing was too common and dull. At that moment, he decided to get rid of his entire wardrobe and embarked on a self-taught journey to learn how to make his own clothes. Inspired by Regency and Georgian styles, he started creating garments that reflected the elegance and refinement of those times. Although his outfits attract curious and odd stares, he always remains confident and can't stand the idea of dressing like everyone else. Today, Zach has honed his ability to create vintage-style clothing so well that he receives orders from people all over the world eager to experience fashion from past centuries. As a result, his creations are not just garments but true works of art that evoke an era of grace and sophistication. Chase McKenna. Most parents strive not to pamper their children too much and teach them the value of hard work, but a growing minority ensure that every whim is catered to. Chase is a case in point. A 12-year-old English girl whose life seems straight out of a fairy tale. Each week, this young girl receives an allowance of $380, has a pony worth $2,000, and her wardrobe is filled with luxury items from designers like Gucci, Ralph Lauren, and Tommy Hilfiger. For this shopping addict, getting what she wants is child's play. All she has to do is look at her parents with her big puppy eyes, and they give in to her every desire. This is how Chase spares no expense, spending her allowance on jewelry, shoes, and any other whim that crosses her mind. Given this situation, one might think the McKenna family is extremely wealthy, but the reality is quite different. They live in a rented house, neither parent has a stable job, and unpaid bills are piling up dangerously. When asked why they allow their daughter to spend such a large amount of money, the McKennas respond with disarming honesty. All they care about is seeing a smile on their little girl's face. Meanwhile, the refrigerator remains half empty. The landlord continues to plead for rent and threatens to evict them, which would force them to live on the cold streets where their daughter wouldn't be able to enjoy her luxurious lifestyle. Janice Haley. Tigers are animals with such an imposing presence that they symbolize ferocity, strength, and sharp teeth that no one would want to face, unless you're Janice Haley, a 57-year-old woman who has a very different opinion and thinks they are just adorable kittens. For her Bengal tiger named Janda and the white tiger Saber, weighing 397 to 595 pounds respectively, are as affectionate as domestic cats. She claims that both felines, raised by her since they were cubs, see her as their mother who feeds them 3 times a day and gives them nose kisses. Janice's story of ending up surrounded by fierce animals began in 1995 when she left her office job to open an animal sanctuary. Since then, many exotic species have come through her care, and she explains that the only way to save tigers from extinction is by keeping them in captivity, as they wouldn't stand a chance in the wild due to habitat loss and poaching. Her feline journey clearly demonstrates the special bond that can form between humans and wild animals, and her dedication and love for tigers allowed her to create a sanctuary where they can live with the safety and affection they deserve. Holly Foster. The winner of the Miss Vintage UK contest is a huge fan of old-fashioned fashion, regardless of the fact that Victorian clothing and knee-length skirts went out of style decades ago. For Holly, they represent more than just a style. They are a way of life, and she even claims that men respect her more when she dresses this way. Since adopting this style, she has invested over £2,000 in an impressive collection of dresses, skirts, blouses, and accessories that evoke the elegance of a mid-20th century film star. Her passion for vintage fashion dates back to her childhood, when she used to accompany her grandmother to watch movies from the 1940s and 1950s, where she was captivated by the glamour of the era. Additionally, her experience in a musical theater group that performed shows like Grease reinforced her love for clothing from the past century. Since then, Holly has fully embraced this style and hasn't looked back, aiming to look as elegant and glamorous as a Hollywood Golden Age star. Chris. It has become quite common for many girls to emulate Barbie's style, but what is unusual is finding men who want to look like Ken. This is exactly what a 28-year-old man from Chihuahua, Mexico, decided to do. He spent a fortune on over 30 cosmetic procedures on his face to look like Barbie's male counterpart. Chris's obsession began during his adolescence, a period marked by bullying that made him feel out of place and self-conscious. Confronted with this painful reality, he concluded that surgeries were his only option to achieve the beauty ideal he longed for and to be accepted by others. The most shocking thing is that he claims his transformation is far from over, as he plans to undergo dozens more surgeries and cosmetic procedures to achieve the look he considers perfect. So far, his interventions include a rhinoplasty and Botox injections. But his ambition knows no bounds, and he will do whatever it takes to complete the look of a human Ken. Rosanna Miller and Maureen Byler. Being part of the Amish culture means adhering to an extensive list of rules that prohibit the use of modern technology, such as cars, computers, and phones. Therefore, when Rosanna and Maureen left their community for the first time in their lives, they encountered a completely unfamiliar and surprising world. This giant leap from a life akin to the 18th century to the vibrant and technological reality of the 21st century was a true cultural shock for them. Just seeing everyday activities that most of us take for granted, like going to the beach, shopping, dining in restaurants, flying on planes, or even using escalators, were new and astonishing experiences for the girls. However, these two brave young women quickly adapted to their new reality, and Rosanna, in particular, felt a strong attraction to the opportunities that the modern world offered. She decided to leave behind her family's traditional lifestyle to continue her education, seek employment, and find love. While it was an exciting decision, it was far from easy, because once someone leaves the Amish community, they are not allowed to return or see their family again. It may be a painful sacrifice, but Rosanna knows she won't be alone in this new stage of her life, since her friend Maureen also plans to leave the 18th century lifestyle behind to embrace the modernity of the 21st century. Victor Munoz. Since he was 5 years old, Victor developed an insatiable fascination with cheeseburgers. His mother, noticing the intensity of his new obsession, gave in to his tastes and started making his favorite dish 3 times a day. This routine remained unchanged for years, becoming a constant in Victor's life, and even into adulthood, his love for cheeseburgers did not wane, with the peculiar preference of having them without lettuce, tomato, or onion. Despite his wife's efforts to introduce more nutritious dishes into his diet, he clung to his addiction and increased his consumption to 4 cheeseburgers a day. This amounted to 28 a week and nearly 1,500 in a year, leading to an intake of 88 pounds of fat and 1.3 million milligrams of sodium annually, which inevitably caused his weight to shoot up to 260 pounds and resulted in diabetes. Reality hit Victor like a ton of bricks when he realized he could no longer play with his children because any physical activity left him breathless. At the same time, he noticed that his wife was considering divorce, and this wake-up call motivated him to make a crucial decision. With renewed determination, Victor started a diet, began losing weight, and gradually reduced his cheeseburger consumption to just a few times each month. Whitney. The pressure to lose weight led this mother to drop nearly 154 pounds in just 5 months, a drastic figure that resulted in severe malnutrition and deprived her body of essential vitamins and minerals. However, Whitney's concerns go beyond just weight loss. She has developed an obsession with consuming only liquids, leading her to adopt a peculiar and dangerous eating habit, chewing food to taste it and then spitting it out, fearful of swallowing and regaining the lost weight. This extreme eating behavior also stems from a traumatic incident she experienced a few years ago. At that time, she choked on a piece of meat and felt her life slipping away, which triggered a severe phobia of swallowing food. Simultaneously, this phobia has caused panic attacks whenever she tries to consume solid foods, worsening her already critical situation. As a result of her fears and problems, her diet is restricted to just 240 milliliters of liquids daily, providing her with a mere 200 calories. This amount is only a tenth of the recommended caloric intake by nutritionists, and if she continues down this dangerous path, she risks her health, well-being, and eventually, her life. Mike Moreles. The self-proclaimed biggest fan of Barbie is a man whose obsession with the iconic blonde doll began at the age of 10 and has only grown since then. Today, his impressive collection of 500 Barbies occupies the entire top floor of his mother's house, achieving a historic milestone that goes beyond fanaticism by turning the space into a shrine dedicated to Mattel's world. Mike's passion for Barbie knows no bounds. In fact, his mother had no choice but to move to the basement to make room for his vast collection on the upper floor. This means the rest of the house is infused with Barbie's signature pink color, serving as a constant reminder of the significant influence the doll has on their lives. At the same time, the protagonist of this story admits that his devotion is not only a matter of space, but also of finances. His fascination with what is usually a toy for girls can have a significant economic impact, occasionally costing hundreds or even thousands of dollars for limited edition dolls. In fact, at times his obsession reached such extremes that he put aside more urgent needs like home repairs, just to keep buying more and more dolls. Michael Church. This Australian and his family are the proud owners of the Rookkeepers Zoo, located on the outskirts of Melbourne. The incredible facility houses over 100 animals from all corners of the country, including iconic kangaroos and koalas, as well as dingoes, fearsome saltwater crocodiles, and massive snakes. What sets the Rookkeepers apart from other family-run zoos is the unusual and exciting freedom Michael allows his daughters, Yara, 2 years old, and Zali, 3 years old. These little adventurers play with all the animals at the zoo as if they were domestic pets, whether they are cuddling a friendly koala or handling a massive python with enough strength to crush human bones. Michael explains that he allows his daughters to be actively involved in animal care because he firmly believes that an early and deep connection with them is the best way to instill the value and respect needed to protect wildlife, especially endangered species. Moreover, his daughter's interaction with these animals is not just about education, it's a vital mission. In a world where many species are on the brink of extinction, Yara and Zali's experience at the Rookkeepers is a way to sow the seeds of conservation and wildlife protection from the earliest age. Sarah Vaith. In 2012, Sarah tried a corset for the first time, initially to help correct her posture. What she didn't know then was that something so simple would become an obsessive fascination, leading her to wear a corset for 20 hours a day. More than a decade later, Sarah's waist has been reduced from 26 inches to a tiny 16 inches, giving her an hourglass figure that defies natural human anatomy. Still, she admits this is not enough, and plans to continue wearing the corset with the goal of further reducing her body's circumference and achieving the world record for the smallest waist. What's most shocking is that she resumed wearing her corset just days after giving birth to her daughter. It is also concerning that her doctor has warned her that she is jeopardizing the integrity of her internal organs. But she remains undeterred and continues to focus on challenging the limits of anatomy and health in pursuit of what she considers the ideal aesthetic. Joy Henny. Typically, emotional support animals are trained dogs that assist their owners in emergencies. However, this 65-year-old man opted for a drastically different companion, a 4 feet 11 inches long alligator. According to Joey, this reptile named Wally has been his salvation since it helps him manage his depression after stopping the medications that used to keep it in check. The story between this unusual pair began when Wally was rescued outside Orlando, Florida, at the age of 14 months. Despite his friendly appearance in pictures, Wally is a formidable predator capable of growing up to 15.7 feet long and exerting 3,000 pounds of pressure with his powerful jaws. Although the evidence suggests otherwise, Joy describes the alligator as anything but aggressive. To him, Wally is like a giant teddy bear who loves to receive hugs and, ironically, is afraid of smaller animals like cats. Ultimately, the unlikely relationship between Joey and Wally defies all expectations and breaks stereotypes about emotional support animals, proving that help can come from the most unexpected creatures. Natasha Coats. It's quite normal for some people to be allergic to pollen or pet dander, but Natasha's life completely redefines the concept of allergies. Since childhood, she has discovered that she's allergic to absolutely everything: her own hair, sweat, even her own tears. This extremely rare phenomenon is due to mast cell activation syndrome, a disorder that causes allergy-like symptoms in response to almost any situation, whether it's a change in weather, consuming common foods, or using everyday products that the rest of us handle without a problem. Symptoms of this bizarre condition include seizures, throat swelling, difficulty breathing, and even the inability to feel her extremities. To give you an idea of how challenging her daily life is, something as simple as hair growth can cause her scalp to break out in blisters, while her tears lead to red rashes on her face. However, Natasha hasn't let this condition defeat her. Instead, she has transformed her daily battle into a source of strength and determination. She has overcome the limitations imposed by her medical condition and has become a high-performance gymnast, winning countless competitions, including being ranked #1 in the British Championship for disabled athletes. Her life story not only defies expectations, but also inspires everyone with her unwavering spirit and her ability to triumph over obstacles that seem insurmountable to the rest of us. Ed and Emmy Taoka, facing two imposing pythons nearly 16.4 feet long, is an experience that would make anyone tremble, unless you're Ed and his daughter Emmy, who, rather than having a dog or cat as pets, prefer these giant reptiles and aim to show the world that they are creatures not to be feared. According to Ed, who lives in Surrey, England, he proudly owns two impressive reticulated pythons named Sunny and Cher. What's most surprising is that he allows his 7-year-old daughter Emmy to play with these colossal reptiles as if they were mere puppies. Ed assures that he doesn't worry about Emmy's safety, although he always supervises her closely while she plays with her unusual pets. Despite his calm demeanor, he is aware that these animals possess astonishing strength and could potentially devour a small child in one bite. He also claims that snakes are misunderstood and have been unfairly stigmatized throughout history. With a lifespan of up to 30 years in captivity, Ed and Emmy hope to enjoy many more years with their fascinating and fearsome friends. For them, Sunny and Cher are not just pets, but companions in a daily adventure that challenges fears and stereotypes. They acknowledge that, while these reptiles could turn against them in the most unexpected way, the connection and respect they share with their pythons prove that even the most terrifying creatures can be sources of joy and companionship. Cordelia Adams. We all know about the risks of having extremely long nails, unless you're this woman who proudly states that her nails reach 11.8 inches and insists she will never cut them, as she considers them an extension of her personality. Her journey to having longer than normal nails began in 1989 when she grew them to an astonishing length of 15.7 inches. However, this size turned out to be too much for her job as a manicurist, so she chose to keep them at a more manageable length of 11.8 inches. When it's time to trim them, she uses a jewelry cutter because their thickness and length make regular nail clippers unusable. Despite the challenges posed by her unique lifestyle, such as having to modify the way she performs simple daily tasks like cooking or cleaning, Cordelia has no intention of giving in to pressure to cut her most prized physical attribute, which she describes as a manifestation of her individuality and creativity. Keith Charles. Over a 30-year career, he worked as an officer for the Metropolitan Police in London. But what's truly intriguing about his life is that he claims to have had psychic abilities since childhood. According to his version of the story, he could communicate with people from the afterlife and used this peculiar skill to solve cases during his career as a detective. Keith asserts that his psychic powers allowed him to find detailed information about violent crimes, which provided crucial clues in several cases. One of his most notable stories took him to Buffalo, New York, where he joined a team of detectives trying to solve a 2-year-old unsolved murder. During the 6 days he spent with the victim's parents, he claimed to have found the murder weapon in the drain of a warehouse owned by a relative of one of the suspects. What was most puzzling was that this revelation came from his communications with the beyond. Although he remains fully convinced of his paranormal abilities, the police were never able to verify his hypothesis, and his reputation as a clairvoyant remains a topic of debate. Nevertheless, Keith's story is a fascinating blend of the supernatural and the police, challenging logic and questioning the limits of human perception. Andy Reever. Calling herself the Queen of Lions, Andy is a passionate conservationist who runs the Glengarriff Lion Reserve in South Africa. Just looking at these images, it's easy to understand why she proclaims herself the Queen of Big Cats, given her grace and confidence around them, which come from years of experience and love for these majestic animals. While most people would be horrified to come face to face with a lion, she has developed an exceptional ability to read the body language of felines. Andy knows when she can approach and when she needs to keep her distance from their claws and teeth, which can tear a human body apart in the blink of an eye. Thus, her understanding and respect for these animals are key to her safety. It's also important to highlight that her passion led her to start a breeding program aimed at rescuing the South African lion population, which at the time suffered from high rates of congenital diseases due to inbreeding. She has made this cause her life mission, investing time, effort, and resources to ensure a better future for the lions. Despite many financial challenges, Andy has persevered, even if it means going into debt to keep the reserve open. Her lifestyle may be dangerous for her own safety, but she has managed to save the lives of dozens of lions who would have fallen prey to hunters and diseases if they lived outside her reserve. Now tell me, would you be able to live like any of these people? Share your thoughts in the comments. Here are two options that you'll surely love.